since this institute is also working on propelling the idea or forwarding the idea of bringing digitization into governance, and also you have worked in different countries, do you think so that digitization is also a crucial part in improving the governance nowadays?
Yeah, but if you look at I would take your liberty to expand your question um, because it's something which has prompted me. Digitization is one of the solutions that we have to pursue for the good governance. But I think it's one of the tools that one has to make use of in order to improve the management and the delivery of services
The
and
reason I'm
observation.
asking this question is I know that this is not your area of expertise,
No, no,
maybe,
no.
but
I would like to, but
you
yeah.
have an international exposure. So, do you think that those countries where we cite examples of success nowadays, did they have digitization or automation as an ingredient that has led them to this?
I would again, as I said, that I would take the liberty of responding your questions in terms of what needs to be done to fix governance. Digitization is one of the. I think there are specific measures that, and I'll take your question as what can be done to fix the governance dysfunction in this country. So I believe that we need to.
I have a separate question for that, sir.
But can I combine the two? Yes, because I can.
You hear my question.
Okay, please.
So the question is that please now suggest it's a rather statement that please suggest a way forward to improve the governance problems in Pakistan now. But I would want you to, sir, please kind of categorize them in short-term measures and long-term measures.
Okay. All right. So, I try to reflect and try to respond to you. Uh, Again, it's a very good question, and as I said, digitization is one of the solutions that I'm going to propose. In the short terms, in order to create an immediate impact, one of the major problems that we are facing in this country is the credibility deficit between the state and the citizens. So what needs to be done is to make a conscious and visible effort. The people should feel that yes, governance is being improved. And the one thing that to improve the governance is through bridging the credibility deficit. And the best way to do is to fair and free elections. Only free elections. You have participation, you have inclusivity, you have the citizen state synergy, you have collaboration, you have transparency. I mean, all the elements of good governance will be there, and the people will give political voice, collective preferences, whatever they want. So they will be, in a way, in charge of what they want, fully control of what they want, how they want, these things. So immediately fair and free elections. That is one way or other. The second, I believe, which needs to be done in this country is that somehow we have to ensure that the accountability mechanism that we have in this country is effective, efficiently, transparent, and merit-based accountability. As I said, democracy without accountability, without minority rights, and without accountability is worse than the dictatorship. It leads to fascism. So the second thing which we need to do on immediate basis is, since we have the law, we have the organization, we have the infrastructure, the second is the accountability. The third is rule of law, of which you mentioned. And the best way to immediately demonstrate to the people that we believe in the rule of law is simply to manage the traffic laws, because it will be applicable to the pedestrian, to the motorcycle rider, to the Suzuki or the Pajero or the four-wheel drivers, it will be applicable to judges, to bureaucrats, to lawyers, to press. Now you must have seen on the on the number plates, judge, bureaucrat, press, journalist, lawyer.
General.
And what happens is that you don't. You must have seen the four-wheel drives, the hi-fi cars, and you see you can't see
Violation
inside the
of,
violation of
traffic rules.
and
Yes.
the so that is one thing. If we could simply enforce traffic, that will demonstrate to the people the will and the right of the state to ensure rule of law. Then second very important thing is the efficient and effective service of delivery. And what you need to do is, why don't you remove the unauthorized encroachments? Look at the parking lots that we have. Every road you see, both of the side the roads are occupied through illegal parking. So why don't you remove so that the right of passage of the people or the encroachments which tend to bring a very bad image on the urban development, you tackle those things. The third is, what about the street lights? What about the small, like the patchwork or the slum areas or the neglected areas where a bit of repairs could create a bit of comfort and convenience for the people? Look at the solid waste management in this country, which is a function. You have the, like if I talk about Lahore Metropolitan Corporation, Lahore, you have the staff, you have the machinery, you have the resources, you have the laws, you have the landfill sites. But what prevents you? So make it optimally operational. So the people should feel that they are living in a clean environment. So these are some of the issues which I think are budget neutral, which you could implement right away. What is required is a will and the decision to implement. And of course, the other short-term measure is to control the inflation. And the people would say that there are international reasons or national structural reasons for the aberration in the performance of the economy, but can you give me a justification why in Lahore tomato at one place is 200 rupees per kg and at other place it is 80 rupees per kg? Why there is a shortage of flour? Why there is a price differential, huge differential in the prices of sensitive kitchen items? It is simply the supply management. So through supply management, I think we should be able to, without interfering in the market forces, ensuring administratively assured supply of sensitive kitchen items like flour, आटा जिसे हम कहते हैं, sugar, onion,
spices and all
tomato. These are they constitute the bulk of the food basket of the people. So these are the measures that you need to take in order to establish good governance and to establish rule of law, ensure participation, equity, consensus orientation, all the elements that we discussed about good governance. In terms of long term, and there is the role of digitization, which I described. But the first and foremost is, I think, we need a very bold and a very courageous decision. I think the existing configuration of the provinces in this country is one of the major impediments to ensuring good governance. Many countries of the world, like look at Turkey, they have 80 provinces. Why can't we have the provinces are based on the divisions? the population asymmetry that we have between Punjab and rest of the province, we will be able to do away with it. We will be able to show inclusivity, and the people which they think that we have been deprived, excluded, or alienated, or ostracized from development. In Balochistan, interior Sindh, or South Punjab, or some of the areas of NWFP, especially the former FATA region, these people will feel politically empowered and inclusive as well. They will participate, they will take the roles. So first is we have to look at the restructuring of the federal government. The second is, I called it the economic angle. In the economic dimension, the first and foremost for us is the resource mobilization. We have not been able to expand the domestic resource mobilization, and that is one of the reasons for dependence on the foreign aid. And the questions that whether we are a sovereign state or we are in a state of servitude, again responding to the dictates of the donors. So I think we need to look at the internal resource mobilization.
And so that resource includes from your human capital,
look at the FPR, the role FPR. Why have not been able to expand the tax base? Why have not been able to, through fiscal and taxation policies, ensure an equitable, a more inclusive regime where the people are not exempted from paying tax, while we pay due respect to those who cannot afford. We at the same time ensure that all those who are taxable, who earn lot of money, they are brought to the tax net. So the internal domestic resource mobilization is absolutely crucial for the economic. The second thing which I would emphasize is the energy mix. Again, I'm talking about those things which have a direct bearing on the ordinary person. Why cannot we have a balanced energy mix in order to give more share to the renewable energy? Look at the dams. Everybody says that Bhasha Dam, Kalabagh Dam. I mean, look at the benefits which we are going to derive, but the political consensus, the lack of the will, we have not been able to concentrate or focus in fully maximizing the hydel power in this country. Look at the solar energy that we could have. Look at Balochistan. Thousands and thousands of acres of land, and the best of the sun and air, which is absolutely conducive for the solar energy. We have not been able to harness that energy. Instead, there is again an apprehension that the solar energy will be subjected to additional taxation, so which is ridiculous. So we have to look. Third thing is that we have an enormous resource in terms of agriculture, SMEs, and the youth that you were talking about. Why cannot we fully harness the potential of agriculture? And when I talk about agriculture, I talk about the value addition and or SMEs, and I talk about the possibility and the potential of becoming a part of the regional and the global supply chain and network. China-Pakistan Economic Corridor offers you a hell of an opportunity to maximize from that, to become a part of the regional as well as global supply chain and the production networks. Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, I'm talking about the countries or some of the Central Asian countries are benefiting from the Belt and Road Initiative, while we Pakistani, where the CPEC is the flagship program, we simply have not been able to fully harness the potential, the productive potential for this APEC that offers to us, maximizing the agriculture, maximizing the SMEs, maximizing the youth dividend in order to prepare a human capital not only for our country but also apply it to regionally, producing the right kind of skills mix of people. So these are the areas that in economy we need to concentrate on. And then I come to the digitalization that you talk about. And I would somehow take it as a part of the national innovation system and the knowledge economy that we have. You know, we have the research institutions, we have the university system, we have the government, and we have the private sector. But what a pity that in 60s we used to be considered as model for development, and the countries, those countries which replicate or try to replicate our model, they are far ahead. Look at South Africa, South Korea, look at Singapore, look at Taiwan. These countries have reached a lot. Why? They paid focus and emphasis on developing their national innovation system, or which information technology or the information communication technology in these days is an integral part. We have not been able to develop. So I think we need to work on that. And the role of digitization is absolutely crucial for improving the governance. We have to look at the digital divide that we have. To what extent the people have access to infrastructure in the remote and far-flung areas. The recent COVID, we could not even deliver the education.
Or maybe they just require skill development in that area.
So this we could not. So I think information, and again, it's a very important tool for better managing the public services and for ensuring the delivery of public services, and in allowing the access of the people to information for inclusiveness, for participation, for determining their own destiny. And last but not the least, again, I did talk about the accountability system. I think we need to bring about a massive effort in order to develop the capacity. And the capacity development institutions have to, it should not be a patchwork. We should have a very integrated competency and the capacity development framework, which will look at the core values, which will look at the managerial competencies, which look at the job specific competencies. We have to put ethics and excellence into performance in order to develop that in a culture. So on the capacity development, when I say capacity development, it's across the board, all the segments, the judicial, the executive, the politicians, the economic, the social institution, the political institution. So I think it's a massive effort. But I mean, we have spoken so much. In a summary, I believe that a country like Pakistan, which is endowed with all the assets crucial for the sustainable human development, if we have good governance, effective governance, efficient governance, democratic governance, transparent governance, accountable governance, strategic governance, responsive governance, there is no reason why within 4 to 5 years at the maximum we should be able to move up from the developing to the middle developed countries or the emerging economies in the world.
Sir, on that note, just very quickly because we can wrap up then. I've been through one of your newsletter articles because we were talking about South Korea. So over there, you've cited an incident where the former Secretary General Ban Ki-moon asked you something. I'd like to please share it with the audience so that we also benefit from your conversation with.
Well,
and that's very pertinent to the
But this, in May 2010, the Secretary General visited Turkey, and I was the resident coordinator. And the kind of a normal drill is that the Secretary General normally has one-on-one meeting with the resident coordinator. And somehow he was very kind to me. We struck a very good balance, relationship and rapport. And during the conversation, that was during his tour of 4 or 5 days. He once asked me that, look, the 5-year plan was replicated by South Korea. You produce people like, I forgot the
Dr. Abdul
name.
Salam.
No, Dr. Mahbubul Haq, who gave an entirely new dimension to the
Human
development.
yes.
And he introduced the Human Development Index, which goes much beyond the income. Look at the longevity, look at the education, look at the health, which allows the people to exercise, expand their choices freely. You gave that concept. And yet, and you have all the infrastructure, the best of the human resource, yet you continue to wrestle with the very basic problems. So I said, Mr. Secretary, what is the reason? I said, there is one reason, and that was in 2010 back. I said, governance is the issue that we have. And I still believe and maintain, very passionately, and as a humble professional with a bit of experience as a development practitioner, that if we could improve the governance, and the literature says that it increases the income threefold. But I believe that if we could improve the governance function in this country, because we have the laws, we have the constitution, we have the institutions, we have the resources. Where we lack is the will and the resolve to govern this country. And to govern this country with sincerity and patriotism, with Pakistan's interest as the foremost, instead of the interest of a coterie of people or some of the institutions which think that they are the custodian of Pakistan, and take their geographical or the territorial or the ideological integrity. Or just, I think good governance, if we have through a functional democratic order which secures the minority rights, which has the accountability, and which has the good governance, we should be able to overcome all these problems.
So thank you so much for your time and for your talk. I hope the audience will enjoy it. I certainly did. So, ladies and gentlemen, with this we have come to the end of our Policy Hub session today. Until next time, just sending you good wishes. We had it with Mr. Najam today. God bless and Allah bless.